It's Monday, October 8th. This is PSN News. The Supreme Court confirmation battle ended this weekend as Judge Brett Kavanaugh is now Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and Penn State's student government voted to add seats to its assembly for 3 cultural groups this week.
We'll also bring you the latest on the new pizza place opening downtown, as well as this weekend's Penn State hockey game.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Talia Chiarello.
And I'm Michael Sneff.
The student government voted last Wednesday to give Penn State's 3 multicultural caucuses representation in the upcoming General Assembly. Members from the Black Caucus, Latino Caucus, and Asian Pacific Island American Caucus will now sit on the UPUA, or University Park Undergraduate Association, this spring. The historic vote involved updating UPUA's bylaws and constitution during the open student forum portion of the meeting. About 20 undergraduates criticized the lack of diversity in UPUA. Students said the General Assembly members were predominantly white, and some compared UPUA to a white supremacist organization. Cody Heaton, the student body president, said the 13th Assembly's goal is to ensure representation of minority communities.
State College Police, in conjunction with the Federal Aviation Administration, are investigating their use of a low-flying helicopter to disperse crowds at a recent tailgate. The incident occurred ahead of Penn State's game against Ohio State. Police said the helicopter was used to disperse a, quote, large and unruly crowd via loudspeaker. However, the helicopter was so close to the ground that tents and other items were scattered and sustained damage. Police said they are also working with state police to evaluate protocols.
A college-age man was rescued from a Center County cave located off Route 26 on Friday morning. At 1 p.m., emergency crews were called to assist the Pleasant Gap Fire Company in the rescue mission. A total of 8 rescuers entered what's known as the J4 cave. They split into 4 teams to search for the man. After 90 minutes on Friday afternoon, the man was located and taken out of the cave. He reportedly had no injuries and was able to leave the scene with friends. The cave is located in a mine area and has been closed to the public since 2004 due to liability issues. Trespassers, however, periodically enter the cave.
Daredevils who love a good adrenaline rush can gear up for a fundraiser happening downtown. At least 77 people are expected to rappel off the 12-story Fraser Center in State College for charity on Thursday, October 11th. Each participant is required to have sponsors to meet the $1,000 minimum contribution. The event is run by a company called Over the Edge. All proceeds will benefit Interfaith Human Services and the Faith Center, which provides resources for underprivileged Center County families. Registration is open until Thursday morning. Organizers say they hope to see as many participants as possible use their bravery to help those in need.
A new pizza place opened up in downtown State College. PSN News reporter Chase McCartney got an inside look at Snap Pizza.
A new pizza restaurant called Snap Pizza has just opened up on College Avenue. Located between Phil Head and the State Theater, Snap Pizza is in a great location for students on their way to and from class. Hi, I'm Chase McCartney reporting outside of Snap Pizza. As you can see, it's already packed with customers because of its delicious Italian cuisine and providing customers the opportunity to customize their own pizza. We were able to get an initial reaction from a few customers who had just visited this unique restaurant. How do you feel about them customizing your order right in front of you?
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think that's something that State College needed because we have a lot of pizza places, but nothing that's made too carefully. So I think that's.
How do you feel about Snap Pizza?
I'd say it's definitely an above-average pizza place. My first time I came, I was very, very surprised at how good it was. It is very high-quality pizza, and I'd like to say that everyone should get it.
If you need to cater your next club meeting, happen to pass by, or want your own personally designed pizza, come down to Snap Pizza. I'm Chase McCartney, back to you.
Coming up next, Natalie Graham will bring you the latest in entertainment news. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Natalie Graham with your entertainment update. The Penn State School of Theater and Penn State Center Stage is currently showing their production of Legally Blonde the musical. The action-packed show follows a fictional character, Elle Woods, who breaks stereotypes of being a blonde woman pursuing her dreams. Legally Blonde is being shown at the Playhouse Theater in downtown State College through October 11th. Students can buy tickets for as low as $12.50 online. Students can also purchase tickets at the theater or Bryce Jordan Center with their student ID. Community members are also welcome to attend the show at a slightly higher cost of $25. Pop sensation Justin Timberlake will be visiting Happy Valley for his Man of the Woods tour on Monday, October 15th at the Bryce Jordan Center. There are still plenty of tickets available for about $50. They're available online at Ticketmaster.com and at the BJC. This is the first time Timberlake is performing at Penn State. He's expected to showcase hits as well as new songs. Reviews have called the show, quote, creative, spectacular, and breathtaking. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Don't forget to bring your student ID with you. The show begins at 7:30 with an opening act, the Shadow Boxers. This weekend, dozens gathered at the Hub for Viva Cultura, a traveling performance that explores Indian culture through dance and jazz music. Our own Clara Beltran del Rio has more.
The Hub held an event on Wednesday, October 3rd that promotes cultural diversity on campus. The Heritage Hall held a production like no other called Viva Cultura. Ethan Smith from Cape Town, South Africa, has been involved with Viva Cultura since 2012 and has gradually become an integral part of their music productions by bringing eloquent sounds of true Afro jazz.
Viva Cultura is a very colorful and eclectic show, so we were very happy to present it at Penn State University this evening.
The MC of Viva Cultura, Cronje van der Meer, explains how the foundation is sharing culture through the arts.
So essentially for us, we recognize that we live in a time where the notion of relative truth reigns supreme, and where the world is becoming increasingly devoid of a unifying culture.
He shares his input as to why people should attend future shows.
We've been traveling all over the States, and everyone that's been coming to our shows have had life-changing experiences. When you see what we do online, this will be self-evident, and I really wish that we'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
From the Hub to Viva Cultura, I'm Clara Beltran del Rio, signing off with PSN News.
The film, A Star is Born, hit the box office this weekend and made $41 million. The musical romantic drama was directed and produced by Bradley Cooper. It's the fourth remake of the original from 1932. The film follows the story of a musician named Jackson Maine, played by Cooper. He guides and falls in love with a young, struggling artist named Allie, played by Lady Gaga. The movie is about the ups and downs of their relationship in the music industry. A Star is Born has received mostly positive reviews. It's currently in the running for a nomination at the next Academy Awards. The film is being shown at local theaters, including at the State College 9 Theater and UEC Theaters 12. That's your entertainment update. Stay tuned because after the break, Justin Corman has the latest in sports.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Justin Corman with your sports update. Penn State women's volleyball defeated Ohio State in straight sets Saturday night. Senior outside hitter Nia Reed led the team with 15 kills on 24 total attacks. The match's defining moment came in the second set when senior Brianna Weiskircher used her foot to assist Jenna Hampton on a kill that electrified a sold-out Rec Hall crowd. The 9th-ranked Nittany Lions improved to 13-3 on the season, while the Buckeyes fell to 11-7. Saturday was also the first ever Thon night for Penn State volleyball to raise money and awareness in the fight against pediatric cancer. This weekend, the Penn State men's hockey team took the ice for an exhibition game against Brock University. Brandon DeWolf has more.
An otherwise sleepy Saturday in Happy Valley this weekend was interrupted by the Nittany Lions men's hockey team roaring to life for the start of their season. Although Penn State may best be known for its powerhouse football program, the men's hockey team led by Coach Guy Gadowski is surely one to be reckoned with and a consistently top team in recent years. I decided to investigate and see what Hockey Valley is truly about. I'm Brandon DeWolf, reporting from the Pagula Ice Arena, where the Penn State Nittany Lions men's hockey team is about to face off against the Brock University Badgers in the first international exhibition game of this men's ice hockey season. Despite a challenging game against a worthy opponent, the coach and his team seem ready to take on the season and the long road ahead of them as they continue on their path to another great year in Hockey Valley. After the action, I headed down to the press room, where Coach Guy Gadowski came out to talk about the game, along with key players Ludwig Larson and Brandon Byro.
Penn State defeats Brock 3-2 in the international game. Brandon Byro with 2 goals, including the game winner. Penn State outshot Brock 43-26, 1 for 3 on the power play, 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. Head coach Guy Gadowski, opening statement.
Yeah, so last year we came off this game with a loss, but that's not the big issue. It's not whether you win or lose. A lot of it was mentality, and 100% that's our responsibility, my responsibility last year. And I really like the way the guys, their mentality this year.
Despite a late third period challenge by the Brock University Badgers, bringing the game up 2-2, the Penn State Nittany Lions scored a late goal in the third period to win the game.
I think it feels good. I think it's not really me personally, it's just as a line, we feel good when you're out there, you're creating chances, and we were all involved in the first goal especially. We were all on them in the forecheck, so I think it just shows when our line's going, we're going to get chances, and obviously it's good to get the power play going early. It's a little different setup than we've been in the past, so it's nice to be rewarded pretty early.
I'm Brandon DeWolf reporting for PSN News. Back to you guys.
Penn State men's basketball scored a major victory Friday night without even stepping on the hardwood. Seth Lundy, a 6'6" forward from Roman Catholic High School in Philadelphia, announced his commitment to the Nittany Lions. Lundy, a 4-star prospect, is now the highest-rated player of Penn State's 4-man 2019 recruiting class. He also follows in the footsteps of Shep Garner, Tony Carr, and Lamar Stevens, who are all graduates of Roman Catholic. Lundy currently averages over 13 points per game, playing for Team Final of the Nike Elite Youth Basketball League. NFL safety Eric Reed made headlines Sunday by kneeling for the national anthem. Reed, who was signed late last month by the Carolina Panthers, had also knelt alongside Colin Kaepernick while on the San Francisco 49ers during the 2016 season. In May, Reed filed a collusion grievance against the NFL. Reed claims he was passed over by several teams in free agency because of his outspoken beliefs about police brutality. He has not settled his grievance despite signing with the Panthers, and Reed has made it clear he does not plan to end his protests anytime soon. He became the first Carolina Panthers player ever to kneel during the national anthem. That was your sports update. Coming up next, we'll bring you an interview with the president of the Latino Caucus, Tomas Sanchez.
Hello and welcome back to PSN News. Tonight we have President of the Latino Caucus, Tomas Sanchez, with us. Thanks for being here.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Good. So we heard that UPUA just added 3 new seats to increase multicultural representation. And how is this important for the Latino Caucus?
Well, I think, I really have to say, with my experience in the UPUA, as soon as I came to Penn State, that was the first organization I joined. Latino Caucus, but that's how I found out about UPUA. And I was a freshman representative, and within my freshman council, there was not a single black person. So I realized that, okay, this is a serious issue, and I noticed that the assembly wasn't as diverse as it probably could be. And throughout my entire time, I had various experiences of realizing that UPUA had some type of disconnect between the organization and the multicultural community. So these seats are very important because I feel as though they really build that bridge that I fought for the past 2 years to kind of have, and I think it really shows that UPUA is willing to have these voices represented, and they want to make sure that those voices consistently are represented, not just in this one assembly, but going forward.
And now, can you tell me the process of getting this legislation passed? Was it difficult?
Yeah, so it definitely was difficult. At the end of the 12th Assembly, Katie Jordan had pretty much brought to the table a resolution that formed an ad hoc committee to evaluate the effectiveness of the special interest seats, which previously referred to the seats that are held by the 4 Greek councils. So there was in asking for seats, we they wanted to pretty much just figure out how effective the special interest seats they do have are, since they are pretty much owned by like organizations outside. So it's a very difficult thing, and they wanted to pretty much evaluate the effectiveness. But the biggest problem was that most of the conversations that we were having in the ad hoc committee all were around the Greek seats, and there was though I was a member of that committee, there was no real emphasis on the reason that I wanted to be there. So we had a couple meetings of the ad hoc committee, and I felt as though it just wasn't as productive, and I felt as though the conversation just wasn't really producing anything. So I talked to a few representatives, friends that I had within the assembly, and they brought up the fact that this isn't something that a few people can control. A lot of some of the people that were in the steering committee just felt as though the ad hoc committee should make their determination first. But it wasn't really something that I felt like was going to happen anytime soon, and this is a fight that has been going on since way before my time. Black Caucus.
Oh, since before you came to Penn State?
Yeah, literally Black Caucus first asked for representation. They first endorsed a candidate for student government back in 1971 with the promise of like hoping that there would be some representation for Black Caucus. And Latino Caucus, the earliest documentation we found was back in 1991, where the Latino Caucus came asking for a seat on the student government at the time, and the president told us that if we wanted to have a seat at the table, we needed to first become an umbrella organization.
Oh, okay. So it was a lot of logistics.
Yeah, it was a lot of just bureaucratic things. It's as a person of color, you commonly hear that it's just like not right now, or there's some issues down the road. But I felt as though with my experience in the UPUA, I knew how to really make this happen, and I knew why it was important. So I felt as though I had the privilege of this experience, and I needed to use it to really move our caucuses forward. So that's why I met with a few representatives, and we created legislation to be brought through the Gov Affairs Committee that would pretty much just add these seats, and we can kind of stop the conversation of whether we should have the seats and more move into the conversation of how do we make the best seats.
So I understood you did have a meeting with the UPUA president, Cody Heaton, and it ended unexpectedly. Can you tell us a little bit more about that meeting and the outcome?
I think that meeting, it was originally just to discuss things that were brought up within the first ad hoc committee meeting, because I unfortunately was sick and wasn't able to make it. After we talked about what had occurred in the meeting, we moved into a conversation. I kind of just brought up some points that I wanted to voice with him, since we're two presidents of the organization. I felt as though it was a good time to really get across my points. So I told him we have to move away from the term special interest, that it's very offensive to our communities. I was just kind of trying to make that common ground and come in, but I felt as though once I brought up the issue of my past, when I wasn't elected into the 12th Assembly, I came to Open Student Forum, and I spoke about the need for cultural competency training for faculty and staff. And that was something that I felt very passionately about, but I no longer could pursue as a representative, so I brought it to Open Student Forum. And though representatives came up to me afterwards and were talking about how important this was, and thank you for coming, you spoke so eloquently, no one actually followed up to actually pursue this initiative. And I was thinking, this is me, someone who everybody in this assembly has my phone number, and they all know how to contact me. I've done all the research that makes it, all the tough work I've already done, because I know what it takes. I just needed someone to take that, and unfortunately no one did. And we started having this conversation, and I was speaking about the importance of representation, and it was clear that was making, he wasn't very comfortable with having this discussion at this time, which I guess is understandable, but at the same time, I thought it was a very good opportunity for us to talk one-on-one about these issues. But he just felt uncomfortable and felt as though he should just remove himself from the rooms. But I mean, we've gotten past that, and I think that going forward, we've talked about this incident, and we've made sure that it would never happen again. And I think going forward, we really do want to work together, and there's no animosity. I've known Cody for a very long time, since I got here, so it really wasn't anything more than just like a discomfort with that conversation.
So now I want to ask, because these seats won't be filled until after the spring election, so how will you secure caucus representation in the meantime?
So I think that this assembly is very different from past UPUA assemblies. The 13th assembly, there was only one ticket, executive ticket running. Typically you have at least 2 tickets running, and it becomes more of like a team thing where you have at-larges down the ballot that kind of ride the coattails, and it becomes like a very team-oriented thing. Since there was only one ticket, it allowed Cody to choose pretty much which representatives he wanted in his assembly, in a sense, because at the end of the day, it's about whoever puts the most iPads in front of people. So if you have a whole team of doing that for each other, then all those people are going to come up. So because of that, we have one of the most diverse assemblies I've ever seen. In addition to people of color really showing out, I think like the multicultural community really came together during these elections like I had never seen in UPUA history. And I think that because it wasn't contentious, the voter turnout was very low, which allowed our voices to be heard a lot more. So this assembly is one of the most diverse we've seen. It has some of the best representatives. Like, I have nothing but faith in this assembly, and that's why I was okay when I was writing this legislation to say that we should do this in the 14th assembly, because there's a lot of structural changes that need to be made, both to the constitutions of our organizations as well as the UPUA's constitution. And this is not something that's easy. It's something that needs a lot of work. And in my opinion, our representatives are going to be held to a higher standard than the rest of the assembly. So I really just want to make sure that we're putting in all the constitutional support to make sure that we're having the most representative people who are very effective, because my biggest issue is that I do not want the conversation of whether the caucus seats are effective to ever come up, because that is something that it's just going to create animosity, it's going to create all these issues. So I think that what's important is that all 3 of our caucuses come together and really say, how do we make the best representatives? And I think it's going to really push our organizations forward as well as UPUA.
Okay, and then once you're in government, what steps do you hope to take in terms of what you do, and then also what the Latino caucus does as well?
So personally, I won't be sitting in these seats just because I think that I kind of made that clear from the beginning. I never wanted this to seem like this was a personal endeavor for me to get a seat just because I wasn't elected in the 12th Assembly. So I never wanted that, but I think these seats are going to be very effective in pushing initiatives that are important to the Latinx community. So I think that we'll be able to do like a lot more and really just be able to bring our initiatives to UPUA and get them fought for and show the multicultural community that UPUA is there fighting for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us,
problem.
Tomas.
So
thank
happy
you.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Hello, I'm student meteorologist Ryan Gold, and for you fall lovers, these headlines are going to get you quite excited. So starting off, warm early in the week as we've seen today on Monday, but as we progress through the week, we'll have some showers, which will be brought on by a cold front, which will be bringing in much colder air, bringing you a fabulous fall weekend. But first, something that's not very fall. These temperatures from this afternoon of a high of 87 in Erie and 84 in Pittsburgh, that is definitely not fall-like temperatures, and that's going to remain for much of the week until we get to midweek around Thursday. But these dew points are not letting up either. 70 degrees here in State College, as well as Harrisburg with 71. They are very uncomfortable and very muggy. But these dew points are going to stay consistent for the rest of the week until we hit that cold front on Thursday. But let's take a look at these future weather we have just for these couple of days. From today at this afternoon on Monday, we had a couple scattered showers throughout the middle of the state. Most of the conglomeration of clouds and precipitation were more to the eastern portion of the state. And as we progress through until tonight, we can see that there's more precipitation coming here in State College in the northern part of the state as well. And as we continue on through, we can see that these clouds will start rolling on out by Tuesday. By the evening on Tuesday, we will have nice clear skies with minimal cloud cover for much of the state. But in terms of tonight, we still have a very high low for this time of year, 63 degrees and mostly cloudy with a couple of showers scattered through the rest of the evening. But for tomorrow, we still have not gotten those fall feels yet, and at 76 degrees, still above average for this time of year. However, that Thursday cold front is going to be bringing a lot of cold air and making a lot of fall people happy. And if we take a look at this 7-day, we can see that right here, right there on the Thursday, we have 70 degrees, and the high, but once those showers come through and that cold front pushes in, it's going to be bringing a 49 degrees for a low, which is one of the lowest lows we've seen. And as we continue throughout the rest of the week from Friday until Monday, we can still see these nice fall field temperatures. You can bring out your jacket and get ready to go pumpkin picking because October is finally here. For the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm student meteorologist Ryan Gold.
President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Brett Kavanaugh, was confirmed by the U.S. Senate on Saturday. That same night, Kavanaugh was sworn in as the 114th Supreme Court Justice by Chief Justice John Roberts in a private ceremony. The actual ceremonial swearing in will happen tonight at the White House. The Senate voted 50-48 to confirm Kavanaugh after a week-long FBI investigation into sexual assault allegations against Kavanaugh. This vote marked the closest successful Supreme Court confirmation vote in almost 100 years.
The Senate vote to confirm Supreme Court nominee Judge Brett Kavanaugh came down to 4 swing senators. That included Republicans Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Jeff Flake, alongside Democrat Joe Manchin. The senators faced heavy scrutiny from their parties and protests alike as Saturday's vote approached. In the end, Murkowski withdrew her vote out of respect for another Republican colleague. Meanwhile, Flake, Manchin, and Collins voted yes, which swung the majority in Kavanaugh's favor.
A Chicago police officer was found guilty of second-degree murder in the 2014 shooting death of an American teenager on Friday. The contentious case involved Officer Jason Van Dyke, who's white, and raised concerns about police brutality. Van Dyke was found guilty on a single count of second-degree murder in the teen's death. Van Dyke was also found guilty on 16 counts of aggravated battery due to each shot he fired at McDonald's. He was not found guilty of official misconduct. A sentencing date has not been set.
A high school homecoming football game might have turned deadly if it wasn't for a local Army veteran. Haywood High School in Jackson, Tennessee had just secured a win over a rival school. That's when Patrick Shields heard gunshots in a nearby parking lot. Shields was in the Army for 22 years and currently serves in the National Guard, but had to use his military training in a place he never thought would be necessary. He apprehended the 16-year-old shooter by securing his arm and placing him against a fence before police arrived. 2 people sustained minor injuries in the incident. Brownsville Police Chief Barry Diebold said that without Shields' bravery, many more innocent lives could have been at risk.
And that's all for tonight on PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter at PSN News. Thank you for joining us.
Woo!